our character began by contemplating the Wild West, contemplating the Native Americans, the introduction of the white man and how they won the West through war, death, and greed, which set the foundation for our modern world, right? This led him to sort of question the more timeless, intrinsic natures of humanity, the way that we scramble for, salted mines, worthless things that we think have value to such a degree that we'll kill ourselves over it. We'll dig our own graves. We do it, whether it's gold fever or the AI race, we just trudge onwards towards our own destruction one way or another. Throughout this song, he has expressed an indifference to this and also noted that there is like an indifferent God. There's no God, whatever. We're all just going to die, and that's how it is, right? But I do think that this is a little bit of a misdirection. I actually think that he cares a lot about this, and he's become exasperated with this mentality. And so he's wondering, is there a way to escape this? Is there any way out, not just for himself, but with humanity? And that is what the metaphor of the door represents. It's like this place that we could get to where maybe we aren't so driven by greed and destruction, and we don't, implode, basically. Unfortunately, by his approximation, we've closed the door, and there's no way to do this, which is why he says on and on it goes, and our fate is ultimately just ashes. So that brings us to the outro, right? The outro is a bit of a breaking point at this stage. It's ultimately him asking, is he even capable of escaping his own nature? Is humanity capable of escaping its own nature? He feels trapped, borderline suicidal, but to the point where he's like, I need to change. I need to do it. I can't wait anymore. And that he's willing to leave behind the modern world, leave the rules at the door, right? With the rules presumably being AI, technology, cell phones, etc., which all of these are kind of extensions of human nature and greed, the same things that inspired the gold rush. We have to break away from them. This brings us to the final line where he actually hesitates and somewhat relents a little bit. He has this profound but kind of deeply unsettling thought that, would it even be possible to go back? Or have we fundamentally changed? So what he's saying ultimately at the end is, let's say that we as a species actually wanted to simplify our lives. We wanted to stop AI. We wanted to go back to simpler times and slow down a little bit, back away from technology, put a cap on greed, war, death, all of that. Return to the metaphorical home that he mentioned earlier in the song. Let's just assume that we all wanted that. Could it even be possible? Would we even be able to walk through that door and still be the same as we were at one point in time in our history? And the implication he makes is almost that it's a no. Like we can't do it, which is very damning. It's actually a very kind of a tragic end for our character's, philosophical journey that he's been going on. Very harrowing, and this idea that we're just trapped. We're trapped in progress. The only caveat I would say here, and this is kind of where the song really gets its thematic value, is that he asks this as a question. He specifically says, could I walk through the door same as before? And the implication of this question and the takeaway for the listener is, would you be willing to leave the quote unquote rules at the door if it meant being able to walk through it? Essentially saying, like, could you actually leave behind? We all know, we all feel dissatisfied with the way the world is right now, but are we actually willing to leave behind the things that have brought us to this point if it would mean, entering a new life, starting something new? And that's the question. That's the ultimate message of the song. Like, are you willing to change your own fate? And is humanity willing to change its fate away from just being ashes? Very profound, very interesting idea. something that I don't think gets talked about enough. This idea that like, we all want the world to change. We all want to see some change in the world and all that. But could we actually leave it behind? Could we actually leave the modern conveniences behind and simplify? Tough to say. And, it's obviously not a comprehensive look at this idea, but it's a song. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be thought provoking, and he's looking at it less from like a practical sense and more of a philosophical sense. So yeah, I mean, that's the story. That's what we have here with this song. And truthfully, I think it's fantastic. I'm going to talk about it in the context of the EP as a whole after I'm done covering the song, but let's finish out the song and we'll get to it. But yeah, overall, this song is great. What brilliant lyrics, what amazing lyrics, and what an amazing story that he's set up here. I really, really do love it. So, what a great time interpreting and deciphering these lyrics. I think it's fantastic. So anyway, enough glazing. Let's let the song play out. So after he says that, could humanity walk through the door same as before? Could we leave the technology behind and go through to a new form of existence? Or are we so trapped in our cycle or our static progression that we really like the rise of technology is inevitable? And as he questions that, we get this essentially super fucking obnoxious robotic guitar solo. So yeah, again, that guitar, that robotic guitar really represents to some extent that the permanent effect of technology, the permanent effect that technology and progress has had on humanity and our inability to go backwards, to walk back through that door, that could lead to something maybe a little bit better, to break out of this cycle or this stagnant state of progress. Yeah, I mean, especially when everything cuts out. So it plays as all the drums are playing, but then everything cuts out and you just have a guitar on the right speaker kind of playing these long notes. Listen to the guitar on the right. So there's some conflicting feelings here on this outro, right? It's this, our character has just had a very profound realization, but unfortunately it's not necessarily a positive one. It's actually a little bit sad and ultimately leads to more questions, right? I mean, are we really trapped on the path that we're on? Is it possible for us to change our course, whether on like a personal level or as a species-wide level? And is it worth it to even try? Does any of it even matter in the end? I mean, are we just going to all die no matter what anyway? Who cares, right? So yeah, it's very, and then having that guitar playing, it's funny because I had an idea about this guitar going in. I was like, obviously that guitar represents technology. I mean, it's such an inhuman, strange, peculiar guitar solo. I mean, just listen to it. It's like some of the most unorthodox guitar playing I've ever heard. It's like just wonky as hell, right? It's definitely a guitar, but there's something so odd about it. And so I'm like, obviously that's technology, but why is it at the end of this song? And it's like, yeah, it's at the end of this song because our character has come to the conclusion that we can't go back. We can't go back through the door. We're stuck with the technology and progressing in the way that we are. We have fundamentally changed as a species and there's no going back, which is very harrowing. It's a very dark message. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't think that it's definitive. I do think that he leaves it open-ended as a question, but yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to think about there. And I think I've presented most of the questions and the ideas, but regardless of what you think, I mean, there it is. That's the end. We made it. End of the song. Woo, we did it. Only took an hour and 53 minutes. This is really, I think I've gone over the main ideas here, but I just wanted to ultimately say, like, this is an awesome track. I mean, it's definitely the most epic and broad track on the album as a whole, which is fitting considering it's a finale, and Avenged is always really great about their finales. I mean, it really is. This is the song that kind of got me thinking the most out of the main three.